Privyet is Zatoki. So greetings from Zatoka, which is a small seaside resort close to Odessa in the south of Ukraine. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining a little bit about why you cannot do it all yourself when you come here to what happens to be Ukraine, Belarus, or Russia, and you want to date local, beautiful, sincere, and honest women. Trying to do it yourself. I saw another self-development guru say, dumbest idea ever, and it also applies to this. Let me give you a little bit of an example about how trying to do it all yourself just doesn't make sense. And that is this YouTube channel that you're watching, because when I started off on YouTube, I did literally everything myself, and that meant I had an enormous learning curve. And what did I do? I spent years doing everything pretty poorly, and that's why you cannot find most of my early videos now on YouTube, because I just had to delete them. They were that bad. And what did I change? Basically, I went out and I did what other what self-development gurus tell you in general, which is kind of the buzzwords are like, get a mentor and a community that you can learn from. Because a good mentor is going to be the person who has already got to the level that you wish to also achieve and go to. So they've already spent the years doing the hard work to figure all this out, and then you can tap into their advice, their experience, and actually just do that a lot quicker and dramatically increase your chance of success. I also think community is important, having people who work in the same stuff, because obviously even if they haven't made it there yet, you can also learn from them, and that is also very motivating. So that's what basically I have done a lot of in the last few years, and that's why the quality on this channel, and you're sure you're grateful that, is a lot bigger than it was when I started off in the beginning for the first couple of years. Now, coming to Ukraine, which is, we're not in Scammer Central, Odessa, we're just 2 hours away at the moment at this seaside resort, but basically most guys, the overwhelming majority of them, fail miserably when they come here and they want to date beautiful local women, I was just saying, who are sincere and genuine, and they're not obviously scammers or gold diggers. And I know this because I meet these guys all the time. I look at my friends who come here, my clients, obviously, well, it's a bit different. It's obviously very different with my clients, because obviously they have my tutelage, and of course all the other tourists and travelers who I meet here in person, who come up to me in the street and tell me their stories, and of course all of those who contact me online, when it happens to be consulting clients, people just reach out and drop comments below the videos here, and that is that most guys fail. Overwhelming majority of them fail. So it is not that easy when you come here. You have to understand the mentality. You are not back home, wherever that happens to be. You are in Ukraine. The culture is different. The dating culture is dramatically different. The gender roles and how you have to lead and be assertive is very different. There's going to be a lot of traps and pitfalls that you have never experienced before. It's like when you go traveling for the first time, and maybe you get into a taxi. Now I know we have the taxi app, so it reduces the risk of fraud, but in a lot of countries when you went traveling, taxi driver, meter's not running. All who've traveled, you can probably get caught out by them in the very beginning, the first few times, because you just haven't been exposed to that kind of scam before, or that kind of difficulty that you have to overcome. Then you get some experience, and it's very unlikely you're going to get caught out by it again. But you had to go through that process. But wouldn't it be great if you could do this, already have done some training beforehand, that would actually allow you to come here and hit the ground running and not have to go through that long learning process. And that is exactly why you need a mentor and a community around you when you come here, because if not, it's going to cost you a lot of time. Like, I came here for the first time over 10 years ago, so you don't want to be spending 10 years figuring out, especially if, say, you're hitting your peak as a guy, like you're over 35, you're 35 to say 45. You don't want to spend 10 years, your whole peak years, on the dating market, because we talk about men, hitting their peak in general. They have their highest sexual marketplace value between the ages of 35 and 45. For women, it tends to be a lot younger, it tends to be 20 and 25 in general overall. Of course, it's can obviously vary depending on the individual. You don't want to spend the best 10 years or maybe your last few years figuring all this out. That's madness. And if you're under 35, well, you have more time. It's a little bit easier, but do you want to spend 10 years figuring it out, or do you want to spend a few months figuring all this stuff out? That is the big advantage of getting a mentor and a community behind you, really accelerate that learning. The other obvious cost is the cost itself financially, because coming here, and I give you an example of a taxi driver, and that's going to be pretty minor most of the time. It can't really, I guess, it's coming a taxi can't be more than 100 US dollars, and probably anywhere in the world. But coming to a place like Ukraine, obviously I have my Scam Buster boot camp. Scams can run up to, we've seen examples where guys were scammed out of over $300,000. And even if they're not technically scam, there is actually on this US program 90 Day Fiancé at the moment on TLC, a guy who spent over $300,000. Well, he actually said 250 to a little bit over 300,000. Not sure exactly how much he spent looking for love here in Eastern Europe. So can be extremely expensive if you don't know what you're doing, because either you just spend a lot of time on what are essentially scam websites, or maybe you meet a girl and she turns out to be a gold digger and not interested in you, and eventually some stage she just like dumps you and goes off with someone else, having spent all your money, or you've invested a huge amount of money into the relationship. On top of that, there is of course the emotional pain, because no one feels good about being taken advantage of, or having a humiliating experience because they didn't understand the cultural differences, and that is something that of course you can avoid if you know what's the steps you should be taking all along the way. So wouldn't it be great if there was a way to get a mentor and a community behind you for coming here to Eastern Europe and meeting and dating successfully the beautiful, sincere and honest women here? Now, when I came to UK for the first time, it was about 12 years ago, and there definitely was not that kind of service available. You have these marriage agencies, dating site matchmakers, and most of them have already been exposed for not being places where you're going to have a lot of success, because basically many of them are scams. But today there is an alternative, and that alternative I am super pumped because I announced it a few days ago, and that is my Slavic Seduction Secrets online live bootcamp, which will be starting this Sunday on the 5th of July. And in this, you're going to learn what I wish I'd been able to learn without having invested 10 years, a lot of money of my life here in Eastern Europe. We're going to dive deep into the dating mentality differences here and things you need to watch out for. We're going to design, for example, we're going to design for you how to have a power itinerary for when you come. And some of this maybe even seem a little bit almost trivial. Like I remember when my good friend Jan, who's been here on the channel a few times, it's probably about 7 years ago, maybe even 8 years ago now, he came to Odessa, and I remember he went down, he was supposed to leave, and we've been out partying the night before, and when I woke up, I thought, okay, he's gone, he's got his train, he's probably on his way to Kiev. We're on message, hey, did you catch the train? We might back. No, I'm still in the train station. I wasn't able to order a ticket because he didn't speak Russian, and he didn't understand that. And at the time, you couldn't order tickets online or anything like that in Ukraine, so he had to go up to the counter and get a train ticket. No one could understand him. I mean, if he at least thought ahead and say, okay, I'll get someone to write it down for me or Google Translate it out, but basically he wasn't able to communicate there. And that's pretty trivial, not being able to do a train ticket. I had to go and go down to the train station and help them get the ticket. These kind of things for a power itinerary are all this kind of practical stuff. We're going to be making sure that you don't have to waste time focusing this when you get here. Obviously, then we're also going to pick out the cities. You're going to get a very good idea of what cities are going to be the best for you. We're going to have a strategy for that for planning your trip to Eastern Europe, so you don't go to the place which is not going to be very rewarding for you in the region. You're going to learn how to organize the perfect date so that you can obviously be more successful on your dates. You're going to learn how to stand out from the local competition, because there are guys who are serious competition in Eastern Europe. Most foreigners don't realize that before they come. You're going to understand why they are serious competition, and you're going to know how to stand out from all the hordes of the horny guys who come here to the city like Odessa, further up the coast. Every summer hunting for the girls, you're going to know how to stand out from the competition, and that is obviously going to put you in a way higher position and definitely help you out in terms of expanding those dating options for you. You're going to learn how to close the deal effectively by escalating sexual attention and winning her heart. And you're going to know, I'm going to teach you a test that you can use in order to check if a girl is sincere about wanting a long-term relationship for you. Obviously, that's after you have created a relationship together. So I'm super, super excited and pumped to have this opportunity to help you create this community, because obviously they're going to be like-minded guys also partaking on the bootcamp. I had my first live online bootcamp, Scam Buster, about 2 months back. We started it, and we used the time obviously during the quarantine. You should check out my video about how Ukraine is now open, and also Belarus. I have that for about 3 or 4 days here on the channel. You know what, I'll put it in the card if you haven't seen that one. So it's open here, as you can see, probably a little bit behind me. There are people walking around, people enjoying what was the sunshine until about an hour ago here. It's actually going to be 30, 32 degrees Celsius in Ukraine for the rest of the week. It's going to be sunny, going to be partying hard on the shores of the Black Sea up in Odessa. So this is the moment to come. Also because there haven't been so many foreigners here this summer. So it's definitely, invest a little bit of time over the next few weeks. Bootcamp starts on Sunday. It's going to be 7 live streams, so we'll be wrapping it up at the end of the month. You're going to have a chance to ask me those questions that have been burning in the back of your brain about dating in Eastern Europe. We're going to have a plan. We're going to get you set up, and you will not have to do everything yourself. So there is, because you obviously want to know how you can get in on the Slavic Seduction Secrets Bootcamp. It's only open to my loyal fans. So that means guys who are on my mailing list. And how do you get on that? I'm going to put a link below to the description to this video below there. And actually, as a thank you, there's going to be my checklist. I decided just to leave it there. You type in your email address and you get my checklist, my free checklist for 5 biggest mistakes made by foreign guys when they come here to Eastern Europe and they go on dates with the beautiful local women. Definitely don't want to be making any of those. It's already good to front load a little bit of that education. Go do that, and then you're going to get a link from me where you can go and check out the bootcamp. And we will see each other very soon. We'll see each other this Sunday. That's when it kicks off. So you need to go and enroll, because enrollment's open. See you very soon in the next video. Do pobачення, do svidania from Ukraine. And I don't know if you can actually make out the Ukrainian flags in the background. There are actually a lot of them here because it's a national holiday. Ciao.
SAR Experience.